Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Dusty Smith, and this is the Cult of Dusty. And today I'm going to talk to you about a subject that may be the most controversial subject I've ever talked about on Cult of Dusty. And that's really saying something. And I think my position might even be so controversial that some of you might even unsubscribe to me altogether over this. And I hope you don't. I hope you don't unsubscribe to me over this. I hope it's not that controversial. But at the same time, I got to be honest with myself and honest with you about how I truly feel about this. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm really not sure that all this hate that the Catholic Church has been getting is really that warranted. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like raping kids in the ass any more than the next guy. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of raping kids in the ass. But on this one, I really think we have to let them slide on it. And before you jump down my shit, before all of you get pissed off at me, let me explain my position before you get mad at me and close the video out and unsubscribe from me. Let me at least explain. Now, I am not smarter than God, and neither are you. None of you are smarter than God, and neither am I. God is all powerful and He's infinite, and He has all the wisdom ever. He's God. He's all powerful. So, when God put a list, He put a list. He gave Moses a list of the top 10 things that you're not supposed to do ever. These are the top 10 most important things ever. 10 things you're never, ever, ever supposed to do. This was it. This is the biggies. This is the big list. And I've looked at this list at least 3 times now. And the list is called the 10 Commandments, for those of you who are not aware of this list. That's the name of it. It's called the 10 Commandments. And I've looked at this list at least 3 times now. And nowhere on the list anywhere, does it say, thou shalt not rape little boys in the ass, And I wish it did. I wish, if I was advising God, I would have told him, hey, big guy, maybe we should put something in about not raping little kids in the ass, Maybe we should put something in there about not raping people at all. To me, that seems like a good thing to add to the list. But I am not God, okay? I'm not. Sometimes I act like I think I'm God, but I know better. I know that I'm not God, and I know that God has got all the answers. And for some reason, raping kids in the ass did not make His list of top 10 things not to do. I'm sorry, but it's just not there. I've checked. If you don't believe me, I'd be happy to go through the list with you and, show you. I'm not lying about this, The very first one says that you're not supposed to have any other gods before God. And while those priests were raping those innocent little kids in the ass brutally and mercilessly, there's no doubt that they didn't have any other gods before God. If anything, they were thanking God every day, for God allowing them the opportunity to rape the shit out of these innocent, helpless kids. So, you really got to give them a pass on number 1. And then there's number 2, do not make any false idols. Well, obviously they didn't make any false idols. They didn't fashion any kind of dildos to rape the kids with. Instead, they used their actual penises. No idols were necessary. So, you really have to give them a pass on number 2 as well. I'm just being logical and truthful here. They did not violate number 2 at all. And number 3 is do not take the Lord's name in vain. And I've looked into it. I've looked into all the records, and I couldn't find any records or any evidence whatsoever that, even one time while they were plowing into these innocent little kids' juicy starfruit, that they ever said the Lord's name in vain. I couldn't find that evidence. I looked for it. And I'm a logical guy. Did they rape kids? Yes, they raped kids. But while they were raping kids, did they take the Lord's name in vain? I couldn't find any evidence of that. In lieu of evidence, I have to give them a pass on the third one. As much as I hate it, I just have to. Number 4, remember the Sabbath, which means, don't work on the Sabbath. And, I've been trying to think about this, and I really don't think that they broke this law either. Because, raping little kids in the ass, I really can't consider that work. I mean, it's really more of a leisurely activity. So, is that a loophole? Yeah, maybe it's a loophole. Maybe it's a loophole that got them through that one, but I really got to give them a pass on this one as well. I really don't think raping kids in the ass counts as work. Number 5 is to honor your father and your mother. And I really don't think that they dishonor their father or their mother. At most, I guess you could say that they dishonored some father and mother's little kid, if you want to count that. But I really don't think that applies here, so I kind of got to give them a pass on this one as well. And then on to number 6, which says, do not murder anybody. Which, I've thought about this every way I can, and, they really didn't murder anybody, unless you want to count the fact that they, murdered these little kids' innocents. But I don't really think that's what God was talking about, so that really doesn't apply. So they really didn't violate that one. Number 7 is do not commit adultery. And, none of them are married because, they're priests and the Catholic Church doesn't allow them to be married. So they kind of nipped that in the bud right away. And at the same time, the priests are really smart. They went after the really young children, before they had a chance to get married. So, they really got away with that one too. Number 7 really doesn't count against them. So that brings us to number 8, which is the commandment that says don't steal anything. And, I've thought about this everywhere I can, and I don't really think that they stole anything. Unless you want to accuse them of stealing the anal virginity of all these young boys. But is anal virginity really something that you consider stolen? I don't really think that's what God had in mind in this one either. So, I got to kind of give him a pass on this one. I don't want to, but you kind of got to, because it's God's word. What are you going to do? Number 9 says don't bear false witness, which means don't lie. But, technically, if you logically really think about it, if these pedophile priests didn't rape these young kids in the ass, wouldn't they really just be lying to themselves? So, they really had to do it so they wouldn't violate the 9th commandment. So, kind of got to give them a pass on that one. Number 10, last but not least, the 10th most important thing that God thought that nobody should ever do ever, is do not covet thy neighbor's wife. And, obviously they didn't covet thy neighbor's wife, they covet thy neighbor's children, and it doesn't say anything about children at all in the verse, And I admit, if I was advising God, if God would have asked me my advice, I would have said, maybe God, maybe we should have something in here about not raping little children. Something like, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, or, thy neighbor's wife's child's virginal asshole, or, something along those lines. But, who am I? Who am I to second guess God? And, hindsight's 20/20. So there you have it. We've gone through the entire list, all 10, and as you can clearly see, the Catholic Church did not violate any of those 10 commandments at all. And these are the biggies. These are the big 10 that God decided that he didn't want anybody to ever violate ever. So, obviously child rape is just like a misdemeanor to God. It's a minor offense. Like a traffic ticket or something, You just pay a fine for that shit. It's no big deal. So, and that seems harsh, but, what are you going to do? It's God. It's his word. There's nothing I can do about it. So, look, guys, look. When the Catholic Church does finally start doing stuff that's wrong, like if they start lying, or if they start coveting thy neighbor's wife, or if they commit adultery, when they start doing the really bad things, I'll stand up with you and I'll say, no, the Catholic Church is evil. But until they break God's really important laws, I think we just got to give them a break on this one, I think we ought to give them a pass. I think all of you that are hating on the Catholic Church, might need to reconsider your position, because you're not smarter than God, and neither am I. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on this subject. I hope my thoughts aren't too controversial for you people. I hope it doesn't make too many of you unsubscribe from me, but, if you do unsubscribe from me, then you're probably going to burn in hell for eternity anyway, so, you're going to get what's coming to you. Fair warning. For the Cult of Dusty, I am Dusty Smith, and I want to remind each and every one of you that, according to the Bible, working on the Sabbath is much worse than raping a little kid in the ass. Logic.
It's not too late. It's not too late. When it's time to judge my soul, when it's time to pay that toll,